YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. Today's video, I'm ranking the best NFL duos. 12 different positions, 3 of the best duos at each of those positions. Really enjoyed making this video. Hopefully you guys enjoy it too. Went through every position group and ranked specific players that is in this playlist along with the duos video here. So if you haven't seen those, go check them out. We'll have full coverage of the NFL in season with power rankings updated every single week, recaps, predictions, score predictions, college football picks, all kinds of fun stuff. Hopefully you can join us for that. Hopefully you can subscribe, click that like button, check out our Twitter. All that would be much appreciated. Hopefully you guys play along in the comment section with this video too. Comment your top 3 duos at each of these positions. Here we go. Running backs. So here's my top 3 for the running backs. Number 1, winning the best duo is Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray. I've said it before. I'll say it again. People act like it's a big loss. Mark Ingram. It was a pretty good duo. They had pretty good chemistry, especially Mark Ingram being in that Drew Brees offense for so long. But I don't think it's as big of a loss as people think. I think Latavius Murray is a darn good back. You look at what he did with that terrible Vikings run blocking last year was pretty impressive. And it seems like he's more athletic than he used to be, too. Seems like he's a little more in shape, slimmed down, gained a little speed. Because back when he was on the Raiders, he was a really good back. But it seems like he's just a little more in shape now. So him with Kamara is a darn good duo. They're going to use them both at the same time, and that's why it's number 1. The Patriots with Sony Michel, who I love his game so much since Georgia. And then you have James White, of course. And they got a few other guys in there, too. They got Damian Harris now from Alabama. But I was focused on James White catching the ball in the backfield, Sony Michel running the ball. Pretty much he can run it anywhere. Love his games, and he continue to grow. But the Patriots, they like to split a lot, so we'll see. And then the Colts at number 3 with Marlon Mack and Naheem Hines. I really like that duo too. I really liked, especially today's NFL. I really like the duo that has a guy that can run the ball and catch the ball, and that's Naheem Hines too. He's really going to do a lot of catching the ball. They'll use both at the same time. Marlon Mack was one of my favorite guys since South Florida, too, in terms of as a prospect. And he's a strong runner, can run outside the tackles as well, knows how to hit the hole quick. He's going to continue to get better. So I like this 3 right here. Kind of defeats the purpose if I start listing off other good duos. We can talk about those in the comments, but I may just go default mode and start talking about the other guys that just missed. I do like the Redskins too. Here I go already. Adrian Peterson, Darius Geis, but can I trust both those guys to stay healthy? I know they have Chris Thompson too. So that was another one that came to mind. I can list off. There's quite a few. So these are the 3. We can talk about any other ones in the comments for any of these position groups. Give me your top 3. I would love to see that. It makes this that much more fun too, just seeing your guys' comments about your top 3, because you can make your case for really pretty much. I would strongly consider you putting Saints at 1, but you can make your case here. A lot of different scenarios, outcomes with duos. Receiver is next. A good battle at the top. I got the Vikings at 1. Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and then I got the Browns with Jarvis Landry and Odell. I don't know why I said Jarvis Landry first. Odell and Jarvis Landry. And then the Rams got that 3 spots with Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods. The Vikings get 1. I think it's just a perfect pairing. They complement each other very well. 2 guys that can play in the slot and play outside equally as good. And you see teams trying. I think beginning of last year, teams were more worried about Diggs. They had their best corner on Diggs, and that just led to Thielen just breaking records. And then they kind of focused on Thielen there towards the end of the year, and then Diggs was starting to go off. So it's a great duo, very fun to watch, and still pretty young. Diggs being the younger one, and then the Browns adding Odell. I want to see Odell on the field at all times this year. We've seen him miss some games in the past. I don't want to see him be a distraction, but I think it's going to work out great. Jarvis Landry's this guy. Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback. Browns, it's good energy. It's crazy, but it's great energy there in Cleveland. So I don't see why he wouldn't. Wouldn't be all in. Odell and Jarvis Landry. So that's going to be a fun duo to watch. And then number 3, like I said, I had Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods of the Rams. Robert Woods the better year actually for Brandon than over Brandon Cooks last year. I like Brandon Cooks a little more though. I think he has he had a good season last year, but I expected a little better. I think that little better comes this year. So, and I will mention, I know there's quite a few you can mention. We'll talk about them in the comments, but I will mention, if A.J. Green's healthy, I really like A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd. I think you guys heard me talk enough about Tyler Boyd. I've liked him for a long time, and I'm glad he's starting to break out. So I like that duo a lot if healthy. I would actually consider them in the 2 spot. I like that duo a lot, but AJ Green's got to be healthy. So talk about the other ones that just missed the cut in the comments. And we're on to the tight ends. Tight end duos, top 3. Here we go. The Eagles, number 1 with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. Number 2 is going to be the Colts with Ebron and Doyle. And 3 is going to be the Bucs, O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate. I like the Eagles 1. I think most people would say the Colts. Ebron, it's not a guarantee Ebron's going to have another crazy season, even though I think he'll be that good. And then Doyle, a pretty good blocker and could be a threat at times as well. But I like the Eagles, just the thought of this tight end duo just really makes me believe in the Eagles again. I'm kind of back and forth team. Will they stay healthy? That's a different debate. But just thinking about this tight end duo and the mismatches they can cause and how unique the offense can be with this tight end duo, it gets me excited for this team. This is going to be very, very fun to watch. And then people just think, it's Goddard. It's just, he's going to get some catches because Zach Ertz there. Now, Goddard was a very good prospect from a small school, a lot of upside, very good rookie season, a lot more coming in the future starting this year. So this duo is going to be fun. Again, I like the Colts duo. I couldn't put them at 1. I think the Eagles a little better. I want to see a little more out of the Colts duo. And the Buccaneers at 3. I think O.J. Howard takes a step up. But then Brate could kind of take a little step down, maybe stays around the same spot there. So that is my top 3 for the tight ends duo. Let me know if you think I missed one or one team that may have one knocking on the door. Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about offensive guards. The guards on the offensive line here. Pretty obvious one to me with Shaq Mason and Joe Thuney at number 1, DeCastro and Foster of the Steelers at number 2. And at number 3, I got the Bears in there. With Cody Whitehair, who's now going to play guard, and Kyle Long. Kyle Long hit or miss last year at times. 1 week looking really good. 1 week, the weaker point of that offense line, even though it was a very good offense line. So I really like Cody Whitehair. He was a center. I think as a center or a guard, I think he is a top tier of either one, wherever you play him. They're going to move James Daniels to center. I trust Whitehair at guard. I think it'll almost be easier for him. So that's why the Bears come in there at 3. But, it's pretty obvious at the top. Those are the top 2. It's very clear. The Patriots clear-cut 1 with Shaq Mason and Joe Thuney there. It's a darn good duo. Big reason why maybe the running back duo is towards the top, too. For the offensive tackles, tough one here, but I went with the Saints at 1. You can argue either any 3 of these at 1. Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk are my number 1 tackle duo. Ramczyk very young and are already showing signs of a Pro Bowl, maybe elite talent. So that's an impressive duo right there. The Packers at 2. Bakhtiari, possibly the best tackle in football, and then Bulaga, who's very, very good if healthy. And that was kind of a deciding factor because the Saints guys, I trust a little more to stay healthy over the Packers and maybe the Eagles guys. The Eagles got Jason Peters and Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson actually missed a game last year. Jason Peters getting up there in age, has missed games in the past, but that is a darn good duo. A big reason why they won a Super Bowl over there. So, I mean, the 3 of these teams are just real strong. A couple other teams you can get in here for, both the guards and the tackles. The Cowboys and the Colts known as one of the better offensive lines, and they didn't make their way in the duos. But as a unit, they're very good, very close in terms of the duos. Any other you guys think that are right there or should be in the top 3, please comment. On to the defensive tackles. I thought, the more the better here. The more the better. So I went with defensive tackles, 4-3, and then we'll do D linemen in a 3-4, and then we'll go on to D ends, outside linebacker, pass rushers. So still a lot to do here. For defensive tackles, the Eagles were already number 1 with the tight ends. They're number 1 with the defensive tackles in a 4-3 defense, and that is Fletcher Cox, who might be the best 4-3 D tackle in football. And they add Malik Jackson, another guy that's kind of been up and down. So what are we going to get? Really, Fletcher Cox brings this up, but at the same time, Malik Jackson can play. The Chiefs at 2. A couple guys in the Chiefs D-line really growing on me, but the duo I'm talking about here is Chris Jones and Derek Nottie. Derek Nottie can slide in a nose if you need him to, too. So the 2 defense tackles now in a 4-3. Chris Jones, excellent pass rush from the interior, too. So that is very impressive. And both very, very young, continue to get better. It's crazy to see something of the Chiefs defensively this high. But yeah, Derek Notty's a guy that's really grown. I mean, Chris Jones has grown on everybody. That's an obvious one. But Derek Notty, another guy who's supposed to play defensive end is Breland Speaks. I'm really looking forward to this. Those are some guys that's really grown on me recently. And number 3 will be the Lions with Snacks Harris and Damian Snacks Harrison and Mike Daniels, who they just added. So that duo should be pretty dominant. Mike Daniels, I know, was kind of missing some games last year, so hopefully he stays healthy on the field. But they got a long list of guys too. They can move Deshaun Hand. I mean, you can use multiple scenarios there. I mean, Deshaun Hand can move inside, outside. So I mean, either way, Lions, I got a 3. But I think the Eagles are the clear cut number 1 there. Mainly because Fletcher Cox, like I said, but Malik Jackson can play. For defensive linemen, use the 3-4 teams here. Just took any 2 defensive linemen from those defensive lines. And number 1's I'm going to go with the Steelers. There's a lot of pass rush from a defensive line here, just on this picture. Cam Hayward and then Stephon Tuitt. 2 very good pass rushing, but also run-stopping defensive linemen and a 3-4 defense for the Steelers. And then number 2 is the Chicago Bears with Akeem Hicks and Eddie Goldman. Eddie Goldman playing that nose tackle. Akeem Hicks could play the nose tackle. If you need to play the nose tackle, you can play it. But he does not play on the nose. Eddie Goldman does. And those are 2 just dominant run stuffers. And then Akeem Hicks has that bonus of getting after the quarterback, applying pressure. And number 3 is going to be the Redskins with their nose tackle, Daron Payne, who's a young up-and-comer. And I guess the same thing for their defensive end on their D-line, Jonathan Allen, who I expect a lot from this year. A lot of sacks and just productivity, just getting after the quarterback, and he has been pretty productive last year too. So these are the top 3 pretty strong ones here. But the Steelers, yeah, that's a lot of pass rushers coming from just the 2 guys pictured there. We're on the defensive end, so 4-3 defensive end pass rushers. What we're looking at here. The Chargers at 1, even though Melvin Ingram's kind of a mixture of a DN/outside linebacker, he does a little bit of a both. Joey Bosa is a defensive end. So they fit here on this list, and that is a darn good duo. If both healthy, that is elite. Number 2 is Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin of the Minnesota Vikings. Danielle Hunter is a young up-and-comer, towards the top of the league in sacks last year, and a top-tier run stuffer already. Everson Griffin, kind of known as close to elite a couple years ago. Let's see if he can get back on track there this year. And number 3 is going to be Yannick Ngakoue and Calais Campbell of the Jags. That is a pretty darn good duo. They got Josh Allen, who was kind of known as an outside linebacker, going to make that transition, but I was mainly thinking the true defensive ends here with Campbell and Ngakoue coming in at 3 for the Jags. So that's really all 3 of these teams. A lot of top-tier pass rushers coming from this page right here. If Joey Bosa stays healthy, though, this is a very scary pass rush, so hopefully he can stay healthy. Outside linebacker pass rushers. There really isn't too many great duos for this. There's a very, very good one at the top, and that's the Denver Broncos with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb was just a rookie last year, my number 1 player in the draft, and already super impressive. I'm impressed. Even though he's my number 1 player in the draft, I'm kind of blown away a little bit how fast he's coming along here, because they really moved his position. Defensive end and outside linebacker, 2 different positions. I know they're both pass rushers when you're going from 4-3 to 3-4, but it's still different. A lot of guys kind of struggle to make that transition playing off the ball. Bradley Chubb's super impressive. Von Miller is one of the best in the game, obviously. And then number 2, really because Khalil Mack being the best in the game. And then Leonard Floyd, who's shown signs that he's a pretty athletic pass rusher, can get after the quarterback, make some plays. He needs to step up a little bit this year. Khalil Mack kind of carrying that load up for them to get them to number 2. And number 3, we got a rookie feature on this list here, because we got Ryan Kerrigan and Montez Sweat. I think will be a darn good duo this year. Sweat, I think, will come out right away and get some production, but Kerrigan has been very consistent. Very consistent. He's going to get well in the double-digit sacks. At least 11, I think, 11, 13 range. And then that gets them into 3. So, yeah, not too many super great duos, the actual 2 of them, besides the Broncos. But a lot of potential there for the non-Khalil Mack and Ryan Kerrigan with Leonard Floyd, the Bears, and Montez Sweat with the Redskins. And they have other guys that can get after the quarterback too. They move around like Ryan Anderson. So moving on to linebackers in general, besides the pass rushers. Cowboys win that one. I think a no-brainer. Jalen Smith, who just got that big contract extension for a reason, a guy that can play middle, play outside. Van Der Esch can play middle or outside if you want him to, but they really move Jalen Smith everywhere. Can get after the quarterback and drop back and cover. So impressive. There's a reason he got that extension. And Van Der Esch was super impressive in his rookie year as a darn good duo. Number 2 is going to be the Minnesota Vikings with Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks. Vikings play with 2 linebackers a lot. It's kind of like the Cowboys. Play with 2 linebackers a lot. So those guys are asked to do a lot, cover a lot of the field. And Anthony Barr with his pass rush and his coverage, and Kendricks with his tackling and getting in the backfield, make their way to number 2 there. Number 3, the Bills. I love this duo a lot. Tremaine Edmunds and Matt Milano. This is one for the future. 2 young guys. Edmunds at the middle linebacker position, super instinctive, flies around the ball. And Milano can pretty much do everything. You know, he pretty much does everything. You've seen him cover. You've seen him in the backfield getting the quarterback, in the pocket getting the quarterback, seen him, you know, pretty much do everything, sideline to sideline. So I like that duo a lot. It's definitely one that can compete with the Cowboys for a long time there for the young guys. So the Bills coming in at 3. On to the cornerbacks. Outside cornerbacks I did here. And number 1 is going to be the Jags with Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Bouye. Jalen Ramsey, the number 1 corner in football, and Bouye is a top-tier corner as well. It's a darn good duo and carries that secondary of the Jags. Number 2 is the Ravens. Marlon Humphrey and Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith is a darn good veteran corner. I think he's a little underrated. I mean, you can throw some other guys in there if you want to. They got Brandon Carr and they got Averett, young guy. But I'm looking at Humphrey and Jimmy Smith. And then number 3 is the Rams with Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters if they're healthy. Seen Talib miss a couple games last year, but still a top-tier veteran corner. Marcus Peters is a playmaker. That's one that that really they pair together so good just because one's a big time, but Marcus Peters is kind of known as one of those top tier playmakers. He's gonna get beat sometimes, but he's gonna be that almost the game changing playmaker. The right time he'll make the play, and Aqib Talib to spend that lockdown. He's more than a lockdown guy, but that's kind of how I viewed him most of his career. So that's a pretty good duo there. And then for the safeties here at the end, we got Ravens taken. We just talked about them for corners. We got Earl Thomas and Tony Jefferson 1. It was a battle 1 and 2, very close. And the Bills with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde there. And then 3 was the Patriots. It was pretty tough to fill in that number 3 spot too. The Patriots with Devin McCourty and Patrick Chung. The Ravens. Earl Thomas has to stay healthy. There's people automatically put Earl Thomas at the top. I want to see him stay healthy. It's been a few years since he's been at the top. Again, just want to see him stay healthy, then I know he can play. Tony Jefferson does a whole lot, very instinctive. See him in the backfield, see him covering deep, good tackler. That's a duo. They need to stay healthy because I need to see these two play on the field at the same time. Be that duo because it's so perfect. The types of safeties they are, and the Bills safeties, they're playmaking safeties. They can come up and hit. Poyer's going to be kind of a sure tackler. He's not going to light anybody up, but he's going to wrap him up, bring him down, make sure he goes down. But for the most part, they're playmaking safeties. Very fun to watch. Definitely a duo that can be the duo of the future as well. So between them with the linebackers and safeties, watch out. And then 3, the Patriots, the veteran guys that clutch up in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. Teams that just missed the cut, and that one for the future could be the Jets with Jamal Adams and Marcus May. I think the Vikings do have the best safety in football in Harrison Smith. If Anthony Harris continues to play like he did last year, that's definitely one that can be up here. And then one of the elite safeties, Kevin Byard, along with Kenny Vaccaro. That was one I considered. There's definitely more. That's what the comment section's for, though. So that's going to do it for all the duos. Really enjoyed this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you play along in the comments. Can't wait to see what you guys think on the top 3 for each of these duo groups here. Plenty more of videos like this on the way leading up to the season. And then during the year, plenty of football coverage of the NFL and college football. So hopefully you can join us for that. Hopefully you can subscribe. We would really appreciate it. Thanks everyone for the awesome support. Thanks for watching this video. Goodbye.